I think the first thing to say, Cam, is it's great for me now that the club has a formal plan to work with. It was a lot of time and effort and thought and work to get to the point of producing what we were able to share with the supporters at the vision night, and that was a lot of people involved in it. You know, the supporters themselves gave us some really great input, and the staff group here helping the board to work together to produce that. And that is a starting point for us, and I think that's really important to say that we're on a journey now at Ayr United. It's been brilliant for me, and I'm as excited now as the day I walked in the door about what we can achieve as a football club. And I suppose one of the really salient points though to make, and we shared it at the vision night, was every journey goes in a million different directions. We'd love it just to be all plain sailing and moving forward day in, day out, having 1,500 season ticket holders immediately, winning games every single Saturday and getting promoted within the next season. But I think we're all realistic enough to know that it doesn't always work like that. There's going to be some brilliant days, and we've experienced some in the last 6 months. There's also going to be some tough days, and there's going to be days where our performances unfortunately don't match the results, and I think it's fair to say that we saw some of them in the Premier Sports Cup group games. But what we do have now as a club is clarity. I think clarity in how we make decisions, clarity in the things that we're looking for, and some clarity in terms of the markers that we're going to set ourselves for how we know we're making progress, and that for me is really important. Rare in football, but really important that we stick with them and we continue to show that unity as we move together on this journey. Successes for me, success last year on the pitch was staying in the league, and I think I wasn't joking. I say I'd make a joke of it. It wasn't a joke that I don't think we should be having pitch invasions for avoiding relegation anymore. It was a brilliant environment, a brilliant experience to see the young people that came onto the pitch at the end of the last game. But we want to be achieving things here, you know, and we want to be at the opposite end of the league and fighting for positive things rather than trying to avoid relegation. But what I would say is one of the biggest successes has been that genuine feeling of unity amongst the club. You know, what we saw at the open day, what we saw at the last game of the season, what we saw going back down to Palmerston in the last couple of games of the year, that was unity. And that's one of the key things that was spoken about time and time again of what's going to help us to move forward. So that's a huge success. Winning at Rugby Park for the first time in many years was a success. Winning at Inverness for the first time in many years was a success. Getting the biggest result, I think, at Starks Park in the club's history was a success. And I've absolutely no doubt we'll achieve more on-field successes as we move forward. Yeah, I think, to be honest, Cam, it's a lot of things. We've set a kind of target of 1,500 season ticket sales, and now that is high. You know, I think I'm led to believe that 1,250 last year was up there with the most that the club's ever sold. But we want to keep pushing boundaries, and we want to go bigger and better and higher and achieve more things than we've done before. So that would be a tangible success if we can see crowds here increase. If we can see more people investing in the club, either through sponsorship or player sponsorship, coming along to the hospitality, which is open again this year, and sort of buying season tickets and coming along to support the team. So these things would be successes. Moving the team forward on the pitch would be a success, and again we want to be competing at the opposite end of the league this year. It's a very open division, and I think everybody will be sitting there thinking that they shouldn't be too far away from being in those kind of top 4 places. But do you know what, why don't we actually set ourselves those targets to try and get there, and realistic enough to know the lines are fine in every single game. Things need to go for us in the matches over 90 minutes, but we want to be a team that wants to be ambitious and wants to compete at that end of the league. I think it is a good question, Calum, and there's 2 points to it. The first would be the comment about needing more Scottish experience, and listen, Lee and I speak very regularly about trying to build the squad and things like that. What we've seen from every single player that we've signed this summer is an absolute desire to come and play for Ayr United. And again, we've spoken to a lot of people who have been in Scotland, played in Scotland, to have experience at this level, and sometimes I've felt that maybe, and Lee's mentioned it publicly, that Ayr United isn't their first choice. Now that's something we want to change. We want people to see the opportunity at Ayr United and think, this is absolutely the place that I want to come and further my career. So the players that I've signed here are players that are desperate to be here, are players that see the opportunity, see a great environment to come and play football and are excited by it. So there's an argument where I would say it doesn't overly matter where they come from. That's the type of people that we want to have as part of our football club. So the second thing that you'd mentioned there about the budget, if I'm honest, I think that follows part of everything that we've talked about there. If we have an increased number of season ticket holders, if we have more sponsors coming on board, if we can sell more hospitality, then by extension we can increase budgets across the club. So unfortunately they don't operate they very much operate in tandem with each other. So the more we can grow the club off the park, absolutely the more we can invest on the park, and that's what I signed up to when I came in here. Not just throwing money at a player budget and keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for the best. So that's still the plan, and it will be as long as I'm in charge. Yeah, do you know, it's funny, even the players have got them in the WhatsApp group and calling them the Ghost, so that nickname seems to be sticking at the minute, and I get it. So that is another addition to the squad that unfortunately we've not been able to have involved in training our matches so far, and at this point it's simply a waiting game. There's nothing else that we can do. All the applications are in, everything's in place to allow the process to take place, so hopefully it's not too much longer until we see David out here at Somerset Park wearing the black and white and playing for the team.